Hey, what's up, YouTube? So, I'm Amanda, and this is my story about epilepsy and my struggles that I've had. Everyone's story is going to be different. Everyone's struggle is going to be different. This is just my story about epilepsy. I've had a lot of other struggles along the way. My story has a lot more to it than just epilepsy. I've had heart problems, I've had stomach problems, I have kidney problems, I've had a lot. This is just my struggle with epilepsy. So, 10 years ago in February, I was getting ready just like any other normal day. And it's 4 o'clock in the morning because I had a 0 period for church that I had to go to, and then I would go to school and study for my honors classes. I had sports. I wasn't normal, but I was doing the high school thing, you know. I was brushing my hair. That's the last thing I remember. And my dresser was across the room from my bed. I woke up underneath my bed with 9 strangers in my room. I had no idea what was going on. I woke up crying. I could hear my mom crying. All I could say was, "What about school?" And they said, it's okay, you're fine. They asked me a few questions. My name, my birthday, what they would normally ask someone after they had a seizure. I was confused. I didn't understand what happened to me. I had a grand mal. Well, when they transferred me, they put me in the hospital bed. They put all these wires on my head. They put wires in my heart. And because a couple years before that, my grandfather had passed away for his heart, so they were concerned about my heart too. And after that, my whole life changed. Normal wasn't going to be in the books for me. The next day, they sent me to Marybridge, and they did an EEG. I thought everything was going to be okay. Well, my mom said while I was back there, a doctor ran into the testing area, and my mom said, well, that's going to be about Amanda. Sure enough, it was about me. And that's the day I was diagnosed with epilepsy. Epilepsy is invisible. There's no cure for it. I could be walking down the street, and without this, you wouldn't even know that I had it. Without this video, without me telling you, you wouldn't know. It's an invisible disease with no cure. It's not talked about enough. There's not a lot of awareness about it. It's becoming more and more talked about, but it's not like breast cancer or cancer in general. So I was taking driver's ed at the time. I was immediately pulled out of that. I had to stop all sports. I was never left alone. The doctor I had said I would never be left alone. I could not have a normal leading life. All of this craziness. And I thought he was crazy. Because up until then, that was my first seizure. And I was like, Mom, I don't like what I'm hearing. He told me all of this stuff that I just didn't want to hear. So we did what he said. I was never alone. I always had someone with me. It's fine. We abided by his rules. I had a 504 plan with a school, so I missed a lot of school for all my medical stuff. I had amazing support from my family and my best friend, and I'm thankful for that. Because without them, I probably would not be sane. I never had a normal relationship. Boyfriends just came in and left. They couldn't handle medical. You have too many medical problems. I don't understand. They didn't take the time to understand. They didn't want to understand, which is fine. People they don't want to understand. They don't have to understand. It's my burden, which is fine. But don't ever feel like you have to apologize for this, because it's part of you and you don't have to apologize. It's part of you, but it doesn't own you. You'll find someone that supports you and understands and wants to be part of it and will support you. I'm lucky enough to have that. I have an amazing best friend, I have an amazing family, and I have an amazing boyfriend now that understand, support me, and understand what I need. Fast forward a couple years later when I was... Sorry, Facebook is popping up. Fast forward a couple years later when I was 18, I got a new doctor. Wasn't pediatric, a neurologist. I got an adult neurologist. She's amazing. I love her. I swear by her. She's great. And she got me my license. She told me that I can have independence. I don't have someone watch me 24/7. I actually live alone. I graduated college. I am a dental assistant. I love my life now. She's amazing. She helped me get my confidence back. And here I am 10 years later talking about this stuff. I probably wouldn't be where I am if I still had the same doctor that I had. And she works with me and all my medical problems all together. She's amazing. Well, last September I was living in Texas and I felt like something was wrong. I was having these moments where I was like blacking out, and if I was holding something, like say I was holding this, I was shaking and I was dropping it, which I just dropped my phone on the ground. Cool. And she was concerned, so I flew up here to Washington, and she's like, well, we're gonna up your dose. So we upped my dose of medication. And then that seemed to work for a little bit, and then I moved back to Washington. Relationship stuff, not important. And then about 3 weeks ago, I felt like it was happening again. So I went and saw her, made an appointment, and she wanted to do an EEG this time. So we did an EEG. They called me about 2 hours later after the EEG, and I was at work. And I was actually with my office manager. So my office manager and me were sitting there and in the car, and I was listening to the phone call. And when they told me it was abnormal, I knew already, because I felt the seizures while I was doing my EEG. And I asked what the next step was, and I'm on my old medication and a new medication at the same time. It's never the end of the world. Never feel like it's the end of the world. There's always going to be a solution. There are side effects to our medication. You always have your independence. You need your support system. You have to have your doctor. Your doctor is going to be your number one go-to. but talk about it. Have a support group. Have your support system. This is just my story. Because I struggle every day with headaches that I don't even know if they're headaches or if they're epilepsy migraines, or sleeping doesn't work for me. I am an insomniac because I can't sleep. It's not because my brain won't sleep, it's just because I can't sleep. I don't sleep because of my epilepsy. I could sleep for 10 hours and feel like I'm only getting 4 hours of sleep because of my epilepsy. It's a struggle. But everyone else is different. This is just my story. If you have questions, ask. I'll come back. Share it. I don't care. But it needs to be talked about. Share your story.